Alrighty everyone, it is now May 11th, and that means we are just a couple of weeks out from the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show that's set and ready to debut on Disney Plus on May 27th. Now, in case you guys did not know, on that very given day, we are going to be getting 2 chapters for the Kenobi TV series that's really going to set everything up for the character of Obi-Wan, Owen Lars, and all of our other heroes. And before we actually get to see Darth Vader, which by the way is aimed for Chapter 3, they're going to slowly build up to that reveal. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars right now is that both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing everything in their power to really restore the brand and to really bring Star Wars back to its roots and back to the philosophy that George Lucas really created all those years ago. Something that Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger really refused to pick up on. And now that we have Jon and Dave with their big promotions over at Lucasfilm, they have a lot of creative power over at Lucasfilm, and they're able to call the shots on even projects, by the way, that they're not even writing and or directing. Except for the Acolyte TV show, of course, and Project Vortex. Now, on top of all of this, we already know that everything related to The Mandalorian Season 3 and Season 4, that's a big priority for both Favreau and Filoni. They want to make sure that the Mandoverse is going to slowly grow and become more and more involved, and how it's going to borrow a lot of elements from the already existing Star Wars Legends material that's out there, and how they can canonize a lot of the highlights from the Legends material and how it's going to make sense in the existing Disney Star Wars canon. So on top of all of that, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with actress Gina Carano and the character Cara Dune. Now, with that being said, one of the big scenes for the Ahsoka series is currently being filmed right now by Favreau and Filoni that is set to be inspired directly from Star Wars Legends. Now, it's described, however, that currently actress Gina Carano was recently and finally rehired for The Mandalorian Season 4 by both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, with many storyboards already being created for The Mandalorian Season 4 that include the character Cara Dune that will be portrayed by Gina Carano again, one of which is described to involve a full-on sequence between both Cara Dune and Luke Skywalker on the battlefield approaching a large base that is described to hold a Grand Admiral Thrawn sequence and a specific valuable item that he actually has that Luke and Ahsoka are trying to obtain that is said to be crucial to the development of the secret about Palpatine's clones in the Mandoverse. Now further, Gina Carano is said to have many scenes with Luke and Ahsoka planned for the 4th season of Mando, which is set to get a brand new title but will still be labeled as the continuation after Season 3. One major scene is set to also involve Cara Dune saving Ahsoka Tano after she gets thrown across the battlefield from a large explosive by Thrawn's forces that will cause Cara Dune to rush to Ahsoka's aid to actually help and retrieve her sabers and give them back to her. Now, one of the other storyboards that are being finalized for the script of the show is set to also feature a moment in which Cara Dune gets shot by incoming blaster fire that pins her on the ground. This is where Bo-Katan comes in to help Cara Dune by dragging her across the battlefield and placing her behind a very large boulder as the blaster fire continues. Now, let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, the thing about Cara Dune that really surprises me the most about what Jon and Dave are trying to do with The Mandalorian Season 4 and the continuation of the Mandoverse at large is the fact that what they are essentially doing here is that they are actually giving Cara Dune some very involved action sequences by both Luke and Ahsoka's side. Now, the thing about that is that you have a lot of the key characters like Bo-Katan, Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano working together to take on Grand Admiral Thrawn and his forces, which you can already see here that it is already heavily inspired from the Thrawn trilogy books from the 1990s. I don't know if you guys read those books, but there's a lot of breadcrumbs in this overall scene that's actually taken directly from the Thrawn trilogy. Now, the thing about Cara Dune is that given that it is going to be portrayed by Gina Carano again, they are changing a lot of aspects of the character, which we'll get into in just a couple of seconds, in order to really differentiate this version of the character from how she was portrayed in Season 1 and Season 2 at that. So moving from this, alright, John and Dave wanted to make sure that they would also be changing Cara Dune's appearance in the series. At this point in time, it's actually set to take place many years later, after the events of Season 3, in order to really create a time jump. Now, this of course is all a mystery as to exactly how many years it's going to take place after Season 3 for Cara Dune. However, Cara Dune in these storyboards is described to be, of course, very much with new armor and have long hair in the sequence, while sporting brand new armor that appears brand new with a symbol on her back. Now, the scene is set to also feature a moment in which Cara Dune is actually held by Bo-Katan, where Bo-Katan uses her jetpack to bring Cara Dune to a different vantage point to take down some of Thrawn's forces that are fighting the heroes on the battlefield. Both Favreau and Filoni wanted to make sure that the return of Cara Dune would be very powerful for the audience to see. Now, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, at no surprise, is described to be very against Cara Dune's return, and especially the fact that Gina Carano is returning for Mando Season 4. Now, additionally, on top of all of that, Gina Carano is described to begin filming her scenes for Mando Season 4 at some point in time in 2023. It's currently unclear, however, as to when Gina's scenes will be filmed. However, principal photography is set to start in the early months of that year. John and Dave are aiming to make the season very dark in comparison to Season 3. Now, on top of this also, what's really intriguing about this is the fact that they are going to be creating an ensemble cast in The Mandalorian Season 4. What I mean by that is, you're going to have a band of characters working together to take on this greater threat. To me, it sounds very much like Avengers, right? It sounds very much like the Avengers in a sense where you have people like Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America all working together as a team to take on Grand Admiral, or should I say, to take on Thanos. In this scenario, it's like those characters are taking on Grand Admiral Thrawn. So you can see how Jon Favreau is taking inspiration from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we already know this, is that the big plan, the big end game by Lucasfilm, is to make Thrawn basically the overall Thanos of the Star Wars universe. That's their treatment of the character. They want to make him the new big bad of the Mandoverse until, at some point in time he's going to become defeated, and then they can move on to another new villain. That's what they want to do. So, at the end of the day, Gina Carano coming back to Mando Season 4, it just makes a lot of sense. They tried to get her on board for Mando Season 3, and that never really actually happened, unfortunately. So you are going to have this gap of Cara Dune really not existing. And keep in mind that originally, both Favreau and Filoni wanted to actually include a lot of deleted scenes of Cara Dune from Season 2 to use in Season 3, and they couldn't even do that. So thankfully, there was an agreement for Season 4. But overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. From night to moon, we hear them moans again.